welcome to another edition of a Hawaii Prospects podcast. I'm Coach Gino, along with co-host Coach Lee, and then we have a special guest, Norene Iosia. Norene, how's things going? How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. Family's good and healthy back home. But yeah, everything's been fine.
Okay, and for the viewers and the listeners out there, where's back home for you?
California.
All right. So, and then for our viewers and listeners out there, we're here with Norene. She recently has started Instagram and a movement, kind of specializing in, what athletes go through in terms of mental health. You can follow her on athletes.realtalk on Instagram, when you get a chance. Hopefully after watching this episode, or listening to this episode, you will understand the value of what she's going to talk about and kind of her experiences. Did I hit that right, Norene, or anything to add to that?
Yeah, no, you basically hit it right on point. It's just a page to inform, share stories from other athletes that I've came across that wanted to share their experiences that might help younger athletes, and it's just a page to encourage and raise awareness. And yeah, getting educated doesn't hurt anybody, so give it a follow.
No doubt. And then just to give a little quick brief history about Norene, we're going to brag on her a little bit. So,
She's like, no.
Yeah, so I think, I can't remember the year, just doing a little history. You won a gold medal in the games in, Samoa.
2015.
2015, awesome. So I think we were just watching a clip the other day on some of that because, my wife's Samoan, so, we were talking about it and things like that. So that's good. And then, leading up to that, you also won the Andy Collins Setter Award. Goes out to the best setter in the nation, right? You played for Mizuno Long Beach. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. How was that? Was that a great time?
Long Beach, Mizuno, those days, crazy times. Yes. Definitely took it for granted because college is way different.
Right on. All right. And
that's a podcast for another time. That's a podcast.
Yeah. Definitely. And a whole bunch of, accolades. I think it was co-player of the year in high school. Look like the press named you that. Obviously all kind of all state, accolades. And then, leading up to college, I'm sure it's fair to say that you're probably, one of the top recruited setters in the nation. And then you ended up at UH, and talk to us a little bit about that. How'd that process go for you? How'd you end up at UH?
Well, I was like obsessed with UH, like since forever. It was pretty crazy. I had family out there, and my uncle that I was super, super close to lived out there in Hawaii. So it was another big draw for me going, and all I knew was that UH had a lot of fans that would come to their games. That's all I really knew about them. So I would always email, at the time it was Scott Wong. I'd always email him and show my interest, but they never really showed interest in me until Kaleo Baxter, he moved down here to California, and then he started coaching for Long Beach Mizuno. And that's when my coach at the time for Club Joy told me, hey, he has ties to UH. And so, I had to be nice. And I was like, hey, do you know, the coaches or whatever? So, he put in my name. But, yeah, basically that. And Coach Robin, I've heard some very intense things from other people in the college world or the volleyball world about how amazing of a coach she is. And if I wanted to be one of the best setters, she would be the only person that would be right, I guess, to play for. And so I even emailed her. I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but yeah, that's how it all started. And
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, no, so I remember your freshman year, I think I was watching the game, and I think you came into a game, I think when this kind of all started, and, I think the team, if I remember right, pretty sure you guys won that night, came back.
hey,
Yeah, it was a great match, and that was the first time I was exposed to you, seeing the jump serve, and I was like, man, this player is awesome, so that was good stuff. So and that was also the same year that I think Nikki Taylor, she was named Big West Player of the Year, and you were a freshman setter, so you had a lot to do with that. So that was amazing to watch that season, and then going leading into the rest of your college career, it's fantastic. It's going well. The next year you're doing great things, and then I think it was 2017. You guys bring in. Is that when Bailey got there?
no, that was this past year.
Oh, this past year, 2019. Okay, so but the year before that, who was it that you split some setting time with?
Oh,
Occasionally?
Faith.
Faith. Okay,
Yeah,
Faith.
I'll follow.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So, but things are going really well. And then 2019, this past year, you're named Big West Player of the Year, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. I think she's like, yeah.
Hold back the excitement. No.
Right on. And you're one of the 3 setters that's won that particular honor at UH, and 2019 was a fantastic year for you statistically wise. In sports, you played in all the sets, all the matches. You got all the honors, but I think why we're here is to talk about the summer of 2019, and kind of how that all transpired, and to see how you got through that all, and you still were able to perform at a high level, while dealing with the things you had to deal with. So if you want to kind of, talk to us about the summer of 2019, and kind of where things changed a little bit for you.
Okay. So it's weird because this is like my first time like telling it this type of thing. Okay, so it was July 4th. We're down at Waikiki, all that stuff happens, and then at the time I was living with my cousin and my friend who just passed away. I was going like house to house because I was in the works of living off campus, so I came back early to work to get a house. And so I was going back and forth from my friend Cheyenne's house and my cousin's house. And so that night of 4th of July, basically I lost one of my friends. He decided to take his life. And that from that point on, or just that whole month of July, was a big blur for me. I didn't really know how to cope well, and it was probably my first loss that was really, really close to my heart. And at that time, I just kind of felt like just blaming myself, in that time of just mourning, and what could I have done different to make him change his mind, and all of these different emotions. And my immediate family was here in California, so they don't really understand how much of a toll it took into me. And I'm not really one to call my parents and just like give them all this load about what I'm going through, because I know that they have their own issues here, because I have 5 siblings, so that's just like them is enough. So I decided to just keep it within myself and just keep telling them like I'm okay. I basically all I did for that whole month of July was just drink and drink and drink. And so many people would text me and call me, and I never wanted to answer. I didn't want to talk to anybody just because when I'm in that emotional state of mind already, nobody can talk to me to make me feel better. I don't even want to hear like no words of sympathy, no words of encouragement, because at the end of the day, I'm going to feel already how I already feel. So I did what I felt comforted, and that was just drinking, literally from morning till night to just not sleeping at all. It was crazy. And it got to the point where I just wouldn't, because we just started workouts, summer workouts, and my team would always reach out to me, and I wouldn't go to any of the workouts, wouldn't reply to them. And it got to the point where, you know, Coach Robin had to come and find me. And, you know, when she wants to find an answer, she's going to get it. So some of my friends told her where I was, and, you know, she'd just come and tell me to meet her at the office or this and that. And it was just really hard for me to just be vulnerable to especially the coaches and to my teammates. And so that time was just really hard because I didn't know how to stop, because when I would try to stop, nothing felt like it was working.
And when you say stop, you mean like stop drinking or?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes, because my body was like a tank during that time. It was horrible. So yeah. And so Coach Robin would always send me texts of encouragement, like, I know, you know, blah, 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 but I never reply. And she'd get mad, and she's like, fool, like, text me back. And I'm just like, I can't, whatever. And so, you know, the people that I was living with, my cousins, they were on the football team, and we always had workouts at the same time at 6:00. And I would still be outside drinking, and they're going to workouts. And they're like, Norene, like, stop. Like, you need to cut it out. Like, go to workouts. And I'm like, no, like, I'm not going. And they're like, this is not what our friend would want. They would always tell me, like, this is not what Cheyenne would want. Like, he would want you to go. And, you know, when that happened, it's like, okay, like, let me reevaluate myself. So the next day I went to workouts, and it was like, you know, when everyone knows, like, she's a little fragile, so they kind of act like just not themselves. Like, I didn't like when people like felt like they needed to act different just because I felt some type of way. I would rather have it just like nothing happens. But, you know, that's just the human nature of people who care. And so I went, and I mean, I couldn't stop crying. Everybody would just always like pour their heart out to me, or just send their love or whatever, this and that. And it'll just like trigger me to just automatically cry. And so as days went on, I kept showing up, but I was still drinking. So basically I would be going and a little tipsy or whatever. I get through it, and then it just got to the point where I texted Coach Robin, and I told her that I was really scared because I know something is like wrong with me, and I don't know how to stop it, because even though I was still going to workouts, I like wouldn't stop drinking. And so she told me, no, let's think about therapy. But I was just like, I can't go to therapy. I'm not going to talk to a random person about how I feel. And so, long story short, I started going to therapy. That kind of helped. And I was kind of already rushing the process of my healing because season was already coming up. We already finished July. We're in the beginning of August, and this is when we're about to start our double days. And so I'm still panicking because I still can't control my emotions. I would be in weights, I would be in practice, I would be literally walking or in Foodland, and I would just have like a big panic attack. And I honestly I didn't even know what those were at the time, but my hands would get sweaty. Like I can't even talk. My chest would be like so heavy. And then I'd just start crying. And then whoever I'm with, like I can just be in front of random people in line or in the weights, literally about to do a hang clean, like the randomest times. And I literally would just burst out crying. And they'd just be like, what's wrong? What's wrong? And I can't even talk because I'm just like crying. So that's when they definitely told me like they're just pushing me to go to therapy. And that's when I felt like I had no choice because I still wanted to play, and that was still my starting position as setter. So I felt like this is my senior year. Whatever happened this past month, I need to let it go already because right now in the present, I need to be focused on my season. This is my last season as a Rainbow Wahine, and like just looking at it from my family standpoint, like, you know, this is my last year here for them. And, you know, I just had so much pressure and I didn't want to let anybody down. So I was trying to hold it all together, but then it just kept getting worse and worse. And it just got to the point where I didn't even want to play volleyball anymore. But yes, thankfully I had Coach Robin, Coach Ange, and Renee, and a lot of the administration. They really helped me during that time. I got through it in therapy and just being surrounded by my teammates, because that time we went straight into double days, and that's when I kind of was more geared into just being busy and not having to be by myself as much. So yeah, that's what has led me to make this page called Real Talk. And you know, just this whole past year of just bringing it to a full understanding of my situation and going into my senior year and how all of that unfolded. It was like weirdly a blessing in disguise. I don't know, a big wake-up call, I guess, for me. And yeah, I don't really know, but yeah.
Wake up call in what way, Norene? You say wake up call in what way?
I would say in just like the mental health aspect of me, and checking up on loved ones as always, and just really taking the time to listen to others, and, you know, making time for the people that you really love. And, you know, tomorrow is never promised. You never know what other people are going through. So it was just a big wake-up call in like every aspect of my life to just be more present and, I don't know, just love on the people that I love, and let them know that no matter what, at any moment in particular, or just like even at the moments when you're so frustrated with them, because you know how that goes with people. It's hard to talk to someone and say, hey, like, I still love you.
Right.
Even if you piss me off. Like,
right.
You know, just stuff like that. And just as a person and an outlook on life, you know, like my friend isn't here anymore, but I'm still here. Like, what can I do to prevent that from happening?
Right.
Well, not like
now, were you guys,
but.
Now, were you guys classmates, or was this a friend at the school as well, or just someone from home? Or
no, we were classmates. Yes, yeah, we were just really like good friends. Like I would say he was one of my best friends since freshman year. Yeah, we were so close. I mean, it's kind of like those things where people think you guys are together, but you guys are just really good friends.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It was that type of situation. I know, because so many people would ask me that, and I'm like, no.
Right.
But yeah.
Hey, so could I get you to just kind of take us through the timeline? Like, it seems like it happened in a really short period of time for you. So, like July 4th, and then when did Robin first reach out, and then when did the practices start, and then
Oh my God. Okay.
when did you get help? Like, when did you officially like say, okay, I'm going to see a therapist?
All a blur. Sorry.
I don't have official dates, man. It's
Kidding. That month was a straight blackout month.
yeah, I'm sure.
So July 4th, well, she reached out to me that morning or that night because it happened that night, and into July 5th, she called me. I didn't answer. Only the next morning. Coach Tommy, who's our strength and lifting coach, that guy blew up my phone. During that time, so in the beginning of July, that was when we started our open gyms as a team, but no coaches. And so I missed all of that. At the end of the July is when I started to get back into the end of our summer workouts. So we would still have open gym and 1 hour of lifting or something like that. And then August was the beginning of August was the week we started double days. And then our first game was around August 24th, I think. Something like that. And then, yeah, that was our first game, August, I think 24th. Double days in the beginning. And then, yeah, that was it. But Coach Robin was there at literally every single point, except, I ignored her kind of almost all of July until the end.
Right.
Yeah, because she was hunting me down. Oh my gosh. But yeah.
Well, it's awesome to have somebody that's that invested in you as a person, you know?
Yes, that is so rare in college.
Yeah.
Rare in college. So I'm so grateful for that. And yeah, I would say our relationship was interesting. But I mean, I was gonna say
I won't press on you. I won't press on you at all.
No.
After that, like, that's when, I don't know, I just kind of knew, like, she's more than just a coach. Like, that's real love. Like, to just be from a coaching aspect to player, like, that was full, like, mom mode.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that was love. Like, ugh, I love that lady. She's crazy, though.
Hey, so I wanted to kind of circle back because she had tried to get you to basically accept help prior, right? Go talk to somebody. You kind of resisted. You didn't want to do that. So what is it? Why didn't you want to go talk to somebody? I mean, you said, I don't want to tell a complete stranger my problems, you know, but I mean, is there like something that prevented you from doing that, or?
I felt like I was just kind of scared for what they would tell me. And for me, I don't really like when people tell me how I am. And I felt like at that time, I just needed them to reassure me that I was going to be okay. But I felt like it was going to be more like, you're an alcoholic, you're not doing this, like this and that. And I was scared of that. And I was just definitely scared of just opening up, because even to my family and friends, like, I would say I'm not really one to just open up and really say how I feel. So I felt like, just that, like, why am I going to tell them? Like, what are they going to do for me? Like, they don't even know my friend Cheyenne. So all they're going to do is just write on the paper and say, how do you feel? Like, right. I would say, because I watch a lot of movies too, and go to therapies, they're just like, you want to squeeze the ball, or I don't know. I just had all these different scenarios. So I was just like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I'm just so stubborn.
Yeah. Well, I think just being vulnerable is difficult for a lot of people, you know, and then some personalities it's even more difficult. So, maybe you had one of those personalities. I don't know.
Days like the wrong thing, when I am vulnerable, then I am a whole different person. Um,
So when you started to go to therapy, did that break down the walls for you though? Like, was it completely different than what you had anticipated? Can you talk about that experience a little?
it was really different than I anticipated. It wasn't really just focused on my friend. It was just kind of like, it just really wasn't what I expected. I mean, I just felt like they were gonna ask me, well, why do you feel like this about your friend, or this, like your friend this, your friend that. But it was just more centered about me, which I didn't really think it was gonna be about. So I mean, that, and just the insight of the that he would give me would just be a different point of view that I'd never looked at from that angle. So especially because I mean, that therapist was probably the first one I really opened up to since everything. So I mean, after just opening up to him, and you know, him just giving feedback or just his thoughts of the whole situation, and just giving me good words of encouragement about like having strength and being courageous, and like all these positive words that, you know, make you feel at the time when you're so low, like, yeah, like I am strong, I am brave for doing this, and you know, stuff like that, which just gets you to open up even more.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was good, but then I'm dumb. After that first session, I thought I was healed. So,
Fortunately, it doesn't work like that.
because I was like, because the coaches would be like, "Are you done? Like, how was it?" And I was like, "Oh, it was great. Like, I loved it. I'm good. I feel way better." And then they scheduled me another one, and I was like, "Oh no, I'm good. I'm good." Like,
I'm out.
I know. I was like, I'm one and done. I already know what I need, you know? But then when that happened, we started double days, and that's when I stopped going. And that's when my panic attacks and anxiety got worse again. And so there I go again, up to Coach Robin's office, and I'm like, can I go back to therapy? And of course, she's holding back. I told you so, but she doesn't say that to me, but she's like, yes,
She's
yes.
thinking it. You know she's thinking
You
it.
can read it on her face, huh? Gotcha.
But yeah, and then I started going a couple more times, and therapy isn't how everyone pictures it to be. It's different for everyone, but for that therapy, for me, especially just to be vulnerable and open, and just considering what they're saying and having someone fully listen and engage, like, yeah, it really helped me, and just pulled me through one of the toughest times of my life, and I'm so grateful for that. And if you asked me 10 years ago would I have ever gone to therapy for a moment like this, I would say no. But God works in mysterious ways, and I support therapy.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think this is pretty common, and I think it happens to people a lot, regardless of whether they go to therapy or what kind of scenarios or traumas they face in their life, where we go through this numbing process. In your case, it was alcohol, you know. But I was wondering if you could kind of speak into the difference between like alcohol versus the therapy, and why therapy was so much more beneficial.
Oh, well, therapy was beneficial because I was able to speak and just let it all out, instead of, versus when I drink, I just drink, don't talk. I just listen to music, chill, and I just drink to go to sleep. and then I'd wake up and do it all over again
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't want to feel the pain. I didn't want to feel just anything, because at the time I was just thinking all these negative thoughts that just put me into a darker place.
Mm-hmm.
And that's especially for the situation that it was, suicide. When I was going through that and drinking and thinking about that situation, suicidal thoughts came into me. And that's when I really reached out to Coach Robin, because I was drinking, and when I was having these thoughts, I knew that wasn't me, because I just know I love life.
Yeah.
And so that's when I got scared that I mentioned before, and I told Coach Robin that, yeah, like, this is what's happening, this is what I'm thinking, and this is what I'm doing to help, and I'm scared. I kept telling her I'm scared, and because of the stuff I was telling her, she had to report to, what is it called? Administration.
Right.
And then, yeah, that's how the whole therapy played into it. But yeah, that was basically the difference of going to therapy and drinking to cope. Drinking was more of a numb, like you said, to not feel, and the therapy was me not drinking as much and just openly expressing how I feel, what I'm thinking, what I'm scared of, and yeah, all of those things.
Yeah, I think some people think it's therapeutic for suppression, and it sounds like alcohol was a suppression tactic for you. You know, I don't have to deal with this if I'm drinking, or it's my way of dealing with this when I'm drinking, and then that allows me to go to sleep too. You know, it's like an aid to help me get through from day to day. But in fact, it's just the opposite way. Like, the suppression makes things worse, and until you can get in and open up to somebody, and they can, I think from a therapist standpoint, their whole mission is to guide you. You know, you express what it is that you're feeling and what you're facing, and the benefit is that they can help you navigate the waters, whereas alcohol is just adding water. You know, it's a sinking ship, and there's just more water coming onto the ship. Whereas when you go to therapy, you have a chance to plug the hole and then start bailing water, so to speak. You know, so
Crazy, because I thought the therapist would just tell me, okay, alcohol, cut that. I'm just
right. State the obvious. You think they're gonna state the obvious?
yeah. But the therapist actually was just understanding and was just saying, maybe limit to yourself blah 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 bottles. Since you drink this number of bottles, limit to only this, and all these different just tactics that helped me that I never even thought of. That would just be the normal routine every day. And it's good to have someone else's point of view, especially when you're just not in a state of mind that is looking out for the best for you.
Yeah.
Right. I think what's interesting is, the fact that, you were drinking and going through those type of mechanisms to help you cope with this is, once you reach those suicidal, thoughts, I think, like you said, that's what brought you to going back to Coach Robin and saying like, hey, something's really wrong with me. And was there like a trigger or event that, kind of put you in that state, just maybe too much alcohol at the point, or, is there anything that nailed it down to where you're like, okay, all right, to have these thoughts, I need to go talk to my coach and let her know how I feel.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there was so many times I did that with the drinking. Because she would always text me like, what are you doing? Like at the latest of times, earliest times. And yeah, like just typing like I'm drinking, and it's like 4 a.m. it like, it's like, wow, like I have an issue, you know? And so it came to a point where that happened, but that was only the drinking. And then when the suicidal thoughts came in, that's when um, I would be in workouts and I would just still be thinking of negative things. Because I'm thinking, oh, if I'm occupied and I'm surrounded by my teammates and I'm just being active, like, oh, my mind would be thinking about something else. But I'm still there thinking like suicidal things. And there'd be times where I'd run out of workouts and some of the coaches would follow me, and then that's when I really had my breaking point of I need help, because I'm not one to really like to cry in front of people at all. And so obviously when my teammates or other athletes like see me running out in tears, like they know there's a problem, because I would say I'm not really one to show that side of me ever. And yeah, that was really the breaking point for me of calling for help, because I knew that wasn't me, and I knew these weren't the thoughts that I would be thinking or should be thinking, but it's happening and I can't control it. And because I can't control it, I keep pretending like it's fake, and I just basically am putting a whole front in front of everybody. And yeah, I'm grateful that the coaches are so understanding and there. And yeah.
It's awesome, man. Well, just for you to be able to have the presence of mind, I guess, or the strength to recognize those things, because I don't think those are things that are easy to recognize. Like it's not easy for you to say, hey, this is what's happening. I think a lot of other people would have struggled with that, man. So that really speaks a lot into your strength as a person. So that's awesome, man. Excited for you on that front for sure. Hey, so I just want to go back to therapy a little bit. And, there's always stigmas like associated with it. So I think I think in your post you had talked about weakness a little bit. You had mentioned that you thought it was going to be something different than it was. Was there like a fear of judgment? Like going to therapy was that part of the reason that you wouldn't go, is because you felt like they were going to judge you as a person, or no?
To be honest, I mean, I don't really care for that of being judged by others, just especially in a moment like that.
Mm-hmm.
If someone were to judge me in that moment of whatever I was feeling and not understanding, then I'm not the problem. I mean, why are you? You know what I mean? So, right. I mean, I can see how others can be afraid to go to therapy for that reason. But as for me in my situation and my reasonings to be scared to go to therapy, I'd say no. Being judged wasn't really one of my reasons.
Main issues.
Yeah. So it was basically just being told, like, you're an alcoholic. Like, I don't hear that.
Yeah.
Even if I know it, like, don't tell me that.
Like, it may be true, but I don't need to hear that, see?
I'm like, but, yeah.
Yeah. And I think one of the other things is, like, just about accepting help. Like, in my mind, it may have seemed like forever to you, but in my mind, like, the time from A to B, like the event happening and then going to get therapy is a really short timeline. But like, it seems like it's difficult to accept people to want to help you. So I mean, do you have any words on that? Like, I don't know how to really phrase what it is exactly I'm getting at, but like, how do we get to a space where somebody can say, hey, we need help, and we accept that at its face value and go do it? Does that make sense? I don't know.
A little. So, like, how do we know that we need help, or how do we know?
Yeah, how can we get to a space where we're more accepting of the fact that we need help?
I feel like that all depends on, the person and when they're ready to accept help, because I would say it's so easy for people to just push away help when they don't want it. And you can't force anybody to want help, to really want to change how they are, if they're not willing to, you know,
Yeah.
accept it. And you can never force help upon anybody, because that'll, in my eyes, just push them away even more, which is what we don't want to do.
Right.
So I feel like it's just, just letting them know day to day, like, I'm here, you are loved, you are important, just like little things like that. And, when they are ready, everyone is different. They will come to that point and open up. And if they don't, we can research on that, because I don't know. That is a good question.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Well, and I would say too, being in the military, there's a lot of scenarios where you kind of deal with different situations, different diversities, different backgrounds. So I would like to say that, I feel like how the administration handled it, the coaches, uh, it was the right way. I think they gave you the space, they gave you the time, they showed you the concern, they showed you the care, they checked on you. They did all the right things to pretty much put you in a position to know that when you hit that breaking point, like we talked about earlier, you had that help, you had that support, you had that love, you had all the things you needed in your corner. That, for whatever reason, the things that you were dealing with, just you wasn't accepting them at the time. So, shout out to the UH coaching staff and the administration, because that's huge. And going through the things you went through, we're on this podcast today because, you're here because of how they handled that situation, and getting you in a position where now I think what you're going to be able to give back to young athletes, non-athletes, just the community as a whole, whether it's volleyball or anything. I think it's going to be great to be able to share the story and get those things out there.
Sure.
Yeah, shout out to them, definitely. And I feel like that was another reason why it was hard for me to go to therapy and just deal with everything, was the stigma of looking weak, because I see my friends who are on the football team, like, they're good. They're going to practices, they're doing this, they're doing that. And I was comparing myself, like, I need to do that. Like, I need to put a face on and go and do what I came here to do, like play, go to school. School, oh my gosh. I totally forgot about school during that. That was sad. But yeah, just a lot of crazy different factors, and I definitely wouldn't have gotten through that time without the coaching staff and administration.
Obviously, that's a tough time in your life. And, definitely appreciate you kind of walking us through that. Now talk to us about, like, what was the moment you were sitting around, at your home or wherever, and you decided to say, you know what, I need to share this. I need to talk about mental health. I need to explore, like, this option of getting this word out. When did that all start for you?
Whoa. I went on this whole crazy ride of, I felt like I can open people up. It was so crazy. So after that situation, I would always talk to, my friends, my family, my teammates. I'm like, how are you doing? Like, I know people ask, like, how are you doing? And they just, say good, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I really wanted to know, like, are you okay? Like, how are you doing mentally? And it was so crazy because people would look at me like, I'm fine. But it was like an ongoing thing, and it was just so sensitive to me because I'm like, I don't want to miss a chance of asking someone, how are you doing mentally, if I could, if that makes
No, makes it
sense. Yeah,
makes a
so
lot of sense.
basically this whole year was a big mental piece for me, and um, just talking to the close people that I know, and just I always just yeah. Ever since then, I always had a thing for mental health. I wanted to understand it more and get to know it, and I knew I always wanted to share my story because I just get so many compliments, especially from Coach Robin, how proud she is of me and how strong from just getting from that point, like you said, point A to B, and then just having the season that I had. Like, it was just unreal. And, for me, like, when people say that to me, I'm like, yeah, like, it's not a big deal. But when people that care for you, like, really genuinely are tearing up and crying and saying, I'm so proud of you. You are so strong, this, and that. Like, it just makes me reevaluate, like, wow, I am that strong. Like, Coach Robin never cries. So, like,
That's the indicator right there. Stop.
Yeah, I would just say this whole year was kind of like a big, just checking in and getting educated type of thing. And then what really wanted me, COVID, quarantine. And I felt like, there's no better timing. I felt like it was something to keep me busy. And so, yeah, I thought about it. I typed it up, deleted it, typed it up, just because, that is something very sensitive to me. And it is very different putting it out there on social media. But just thinking about, I have a little sister and she just started college. And so, she was a really big reason why I wanted to start a page of mental health, just because the things that I know now, as an athlete and student, I wish I knew, when I started, which I would say many of us would say that. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to create something for her to kind of lean on and look at as a student athlete as she starts her college career. And then it kind of just got like, well, this can help, other younger athletes. And I have a lot of nieces and nephews that aspire to be athletes. They're playing sports now, and, just raising that awareness. And I'd say the poly community is so big, so it's kind of like, it just was in my head, like, this would be able to reach out or branch out, if that makes sense. But yeah, that was the whole process and the whole real talk and inspiration behind it. And so I just kind of posted it. Yeah.
So what's the end game here? What are we looking to do with Real Talk? Are athletes sharing on Instagram with you? Is there a site? Like, tell us a little bit more about that.
Right now, it's just a page. Basically, I kind of reach out to athletes that I already know to see if they wanted to share stories, and if they're open to it. If not, okay. And then, luckily, I have so many friend athletes that do want to share. So, yeah, that's where I'm going now, and just sharing tips and, yeah, just going day by day. It's been 1 week of having this page, so I'm kind of excited to see where it goes. It's a lot of work, I didn't think it was going to be this big, to be honest, right now. But yeah, my main focus is kind of just getting athletes who are ready to speak up, to just voice their stories. Because, you know, these young athletes look up to many other athletes and this and that. And when they see someone that they look up to be open and vulnerable, it kind of lets them like know, like, you know, it just changes the whole perspective of being an athlete and what mental health is to them, and redefining what weakness is and what strong is for our young ones and everything. So yeah, we'll see where this goes.
Yeah, I'm excited for you. I think it's going to get a lot of traction. And, you know, we, as coaches and athletes, there's so much conversations and so many other facets of what we do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the skills and the competition and the strength and the conditioning and, you know, all these exposure. And we rarely ever talk about the mental health side of things and how to cope with challenges that we face. So I think there's a real need there. I think there is some traction. People are starting to talk about it a little bit more, but there is a huge gap that still needs to be closed. So I'm super excited for you, and I'm glad that you're going to be not necessarily a pioneer, but on the leading edge of this thing and being a voice for a topic that matters.
Thank you.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yes. Yeah, and I'm super excited as well, and you know, I really appreciate you being willing to jump on here and let us be one of the first to kind of capture, you know, a lot of this, a lot of the details to the story live, and you know, for our viewers who listen. So that's amazing there, and you know, just kind of talk to us, you know, about the behind the scenes of, you know, the situations where it's not always peaches and creams, and you know, people have their issues and, you know, how they deal with them. So you know, I think this is going to be very beneficial to a lot of, you know, athletes that are going to listen in or watch and kind of, you know, go about seeing how you dealt with your situation. So that's great. And yeah, like you said, the season you had, I mean, you were a ABCA, you know, All-American, honorable mention. Like I said, Big West Player of the Year. It's just and Coach said it earlier. It's a short timeline, and it's amazing job of how you got through that and how you dealt with that. So I definitely think that you have something to share, and you have the mindset to help people get through this. You know, not only your younger sister, but other athletes as well. And by the way, where's she gonna go play at?
She's at the University of Texas.
Right, she's gonna be a libero. It's libero, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and again, you know, what other, what better person to have in your corner than someone like you to go to a program like that and maybe have her own pressures and life and things to deal with at a place like Texas, and you know, be able to have you in the back pocket to just talk to you and
Sure.
you know, help her, you know, get through that, and you know, who knows, maybe even reach out to other athletes that may be dealing with that, you know, as she picks up on that, and you guys can talk through those things. So yeah, I'm excited for the future, and you know, looking forward to, you know, more opportunities, maybe collaborating with you on some of these projects.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, good stuff. Coach, you got any other questions?
No, I don't, man. I really appreciate you taking the time to share. So not easy, but super beneficial to the community as a whole. So we appreciate the courage to do that with us. And yeah, thanks, man. You're appreciated for sure.
And Norene, one last time for our viewers and listeners, where can we follow you at? Check out these stories.
Athletes.realtalk on Instagram.
Yes, athletes.realtalk on Instagram. It's our favorite number 10, Norene Iosia. You know, definitely enjoy watching you play.
Thank you.
Thanks, Norene. Appreciate it, man.